All right, back at it. Office hours special edition today. Resilience during Hell Week. Right off the bat in the chat is my email in case anyone needs it. And if you did not receive the Hell Week guide that went out with a lot of the emails, I put that in there already as well. So you can download that. 6 pillars for forging unbreakable teams. We combine two into one. So we're just going to go over five, but we're going to hit all six for sure. So welcome to a special edition of Office Hours. Be engaged. So drop immediately in the chat what's your sport of choice and what's your role in that. And we're going to get into what we're doing today. What are office hours? Tuesdays, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, live, no fluff, room with people who actually train the mental game. I've worked with Jeff a number of times now, and he continues to make an impact. Years ago and in his day-to-day life and everything going forward is all about applying the lessons learned over life, evolving them, the hardships, and moving forward. So the flow of today, the fireside with Jeff, we're going to go over his pillars. We're going to go over a playbook and how to bring this to your team, just like he uses. We're going to have Q&A, and then we're going to raffle. So make sure you stay until the end because we're going to raffle off 4 awesome things. Jeff's favorite book, my own book, 20 minutes one-on-one consultation with Jeff, and he runs Sangha Life. So I'm going to get your shirt size and send you one of his shirts. So we don't react to life. We play offense. We're always trying to build and evolve. So be intentional tonight. One of the things I like about our app, there's a whole section on being intentional. When you show up and you do the work in the weight room, when you're in the classroom, you're more present. So turn off your phones, close the tabs, get out a pen and paper, be present, write things down, close everything else out. Take at least one note on each section. One idea you'll act on this week. It's the commitment. It's the movement forward. Stay to the end. Go through the offer and the raffle. Both land at the close. And so, like I said, we're raffling off 20-minute one-on-one with Jeff, elite level consultant. His book, Gates of Fire, that he loves. My own book, which I love, but I'm probably the only one. And then his Sangha Life gear. So stay to the end. You gotta pay to play. So I love this picture of I took right off the bat. It's from, I'm not sure what year that is, the SEAL swim, but he and I participated last year. I was there the last 2 years. I think Jeff's been there almost 5 or 6 years or 7 years that they've done it.
I think this will be 7. Yeah. 2019 was the first year.
For those who don't know, you start in New Jersey with an awesome ceremony, a run. You jump off a bridge, you swim to the Statue of Liberty, you do a bunch of push-ups and pull-ups, then you swim to Ellis Island, and then you swim again. You do another workout there, and you swim to Manhattan. You get your flags. You run to the World Trade Center. How it's been the last several years. This year they're doing it all out and back with New Jersey, but it's 3 miles of swimming. Awesome time. I gave him my best shot last year, which was brutal. But really, last year I think we raised over $700,000 for the military community. Combat tested Navy SEAL, made it through Hell Week and Buzz. That story is amazing in and of itself. He founded Sangha Life. Endurance athlete, lives the 6 pillars. I'd even put in there, has his MBA from UCLA. He's working with Conor McGregor, and they just had their second kid. So I don't know when he has time to sleep, and it doesn't seem to happen very often. But Jeff, thanks for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me. This is going to be fun.
It's going to be a good time. Just be yourself, and don't get too nervous, right? I don't see you getting too wound up.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, the bell. Jeff, just walk us through. I'm going to get right into it. The SEAL mindset, your mindset, things you learned early on. Hell Week, 5.5 days, less than 5 hours of sleep, cold, wet, and sandy. What kept you from ringing the bell at, say, 3 a.m. on day 3 when you still got plenty to go? Walk us through the lessons and the mindset there.
So I had 2 different experiences with Hell Week, and one, I was extremely sick. I'll go more into detail about it later, but I had VGE, which led to me having rhabdo, and I was basically surviving, like trying to survive, and I just had a mantra: I'm never out of the fight. It's part of the SEAL's creed. Another part is I will never quit. And I just kept saying this to myself, and thinking of my grandpa in Korea who had been shot in the chest and shrapnel in the neck on 2 different times, Purple Hearts, just got patched up and went back out to fight as a 20-year-old. He had it way worse than me, and he didn't quit. I didn't quit. So many people have done things so much harder than Hell Week because they didn't have a choice to to quit. And I basically I'm like, you don't have a choice. Then when I was actually healthy and I went back, I was focused on thriving. I wasn't focused on surviving, and that's where you want to be. You want to be so mentally tough that and sharp that you can train so hard that your body isn't in survival mode. You want to be in thrive mode, but things happen, injuries happen, illnesses happen, and sometimes you just have to go into survival mode. So you got to be able to do either one. Sometimes you're going to thrive, sometimes you're going to thrive, and then what you can never do is quit.
One of the things I talk about, and you and I have been through this before, is making the one decision that takes all the other decisions away. So if you
Yeah.
decided at some point, I'm doing this, there's no, hey, I'm not getting out of bed. There's no, I'm not training today. There's no, I'm not taking my supplements. You said you made this commitment and this choice. Some people go back and they're still reliving those choices.
Yeah.
Right? They're
Well,
still continue to make them day in and day out. How did you make that choice? And how did you just come up with the mantra, I'm always in the fight?
yeah, I mean it's part of the SEAL creed, so it's something that is in front of us all the time, and that was just a line that really stood out to me. I think it stands out to a lot of SEALs and the guys that make it. But another thing I looked at was if you don't, like I started my second class of 253 guys and graduated with 26. And so it's like 10% chance of making it. But I realized if you don't quit, no matter what, you have a pretty good chance of actually making it. 70% of the people quit, maybe 15% get hurt, maybe another, there's some performance roles and medical roles and drops, but as long as you don't quit, you actually have a pretty good shot of making it. So I just took away my ability to quit, and I said no matter what. To me it would have been like committing suicide, honestly. It'd be like just it's like I would never commit suicide. I'm never gonna quit. Like neither of them. I'm just never gonna give up in any way. And that's just kind of how I looked at it. It's just not even an option.
And Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant within chapter 4 is called Decisions. And
Yeah.
it's that level of commitment where you make this choice. And I'm like, I'm doing these things. And if you just kind of hang on and kind of hang on, at some point, someone else is going to just fade away and you're going to get a little bit better. And as you hang on, you're going to develop another rep that you got through it and therefore some more confidence. And it just starts feeding on each other.
It's a very deliberate thing you have to do to quit, and and you have to ring a bell 3 times. Then you take your helmet with your family's name on it, you put it down. Everyone looks at that helmet for the next 2 months with your name on it, and there's hundreds of them lined up there on the grinder. And I could just never, I I want to be a SEAL. I tore my ACL when I was 16, became obsessed with it. A couple years later, 9/11 happened, and now I was like, okay, now I want to be a SEAL to go hunt the most evil people. I talked about being a SEAL a lot. There was no way I was ever going to go back on my dreams, and I had so much visualization through, my teens into my 20s into finally going there at 23, and there was just no way that I would ever. I just visualized myself, like thriving through this training, and I prepared so hard for it, and I tried to eliminate any weakness there is for being a SEAL, and you have to be good at quite a lot.
That's called the table of belief. So the table is going to get through the SEAL program. Each leg is support. 9/11 was support. Your grandfather was support. Your level of training was support. The fact that you told everybody, held you
Yeah, yeah.
accountable was
I
more
wasn't
support.
gonna go back home and said, you
You
know
got to go
what,
home
the
and
thing
you
I
got to
like,
eat it.
yeah, there was no way, and then I actually was friends with a lot of SEALs as well, and I was never gonna go back to them. Oh, never mind, I wasn't. I just gave up. I just couldn't give up on my dreams. I just
Yeah.
couldn't. I just could not do it no matter what happened, and it got pretty bad at times with the things I getting the illnesses. But I would also always look back to it. Hey, you're getting paid to work out on the beach with your friends, and I would try to lighten it with that. And if you're like, hey, this is really just working out on the beach with your friends, hey, it's you can't, no matter what you're doing, it can't be that bad.
Love it. Controlling the controllables. You hear it all the time. Very easy to say. When everything's stripped away, how you decide where to put your attention, one evolution at a time. Tell me your thoughts on the control of the controllables. That's one of the points you wanted to highlight when you and I talked before.
Yeah, so you have all these skill sets you have to pass. You got 4 mile timed run, you got 2 mile swim, you got the O course, you got knot tying 15 feet underwater, where you got to tie basically all the knots at once on one breath. Then I'm down there playing rock, paper, scissor with the instructors just to come up for air from 15 feet. Then you got swim, so you got all these things you got to do, but and people get really intimidated by the water too. But honestly, some of the things, all you have to do is put in the time. If you put in the time and train, the water should be the easiest thing there is. It's all technique, it's staying calm, and then running is, you got put in your time and just run a lot. And then there, you gotta run under the boat. It's a lot of you just gotta buckle down and do it. And you do about 50 miles with the boat on your head in Hell Week, and everything will get ripped off on your body too. Like you're just walking chafed everywhere. All the skin's ripped off the middle of your hair. You basically have giant salami scabs coming off the middle of your hair, but you're just like, whatever. And all you can focus on, you look at the most positive way you can. I'm doing this with my working out on the beach with my best friends. If you just control that, control your mindset, control that you will never ring the bell, and you're gonna practice all the skill sets you need to do until you can pass, you're gonna have a good shot at making it through this training. This training is not impossible. You just have to put in the work and never quit.
What about the redirection? You're hitting with a task, an obstacle, something's out of your control. You can say it's out of my control, but you also have to redirect your mind onto something else. Talk about that's a process, that's a choice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like doing a mission in the SEAL teams. You're going out, you got a plan, you, and next thing an IED blows up the vehicle you're in, you got to bail out, you got to pivot and move on. It's like being in a fight. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth, but you just got to keep driving forward. You got to train for worst case. I trained for worst case scenario. That's why I still made it when I had worst case scenario happen kind of over and over. But I just say train for worst case scenario and then continue to push through when it happens.
Love it. Love it. The monkey mind. This is a phrase that you introduced to me when we were talking last. You say you're not your first thought. And we kind of alluded to that a little bit in the last slide. How does the SEAL train the voice in his head so you're in control of it?
Exactly. So our mentor would speak to us about this. He would speak to us about stoicism, philosophy, delayed gratification, some of the most important, because a lot of these guys are 18, 19, and there's not that big of a difference physically, but where there is a big difference is right here, having that little bit of life experience, understanding delayed gratification, putting off what you really want. And then the monkey mind was a big one for me. He explained it as, at random times you'll have a random horrible thought pop in your brain and you're just like, what the heck was that? That was not cool. And that first thought you had is not who you are. Who you are is your thought about the thought. And so when I'm out there and I'm doing, sometimes it would even be doing something easy, doing drop, you got to do 20 push-ups. I'm like, oh, I don't feel like doing this, I want to quit. And I would just tell myself, shut up. I'd be like, shut up, that's not who you are. And then the strength would come over me, and I would, whatever that weakness was that came out at first, this stronger thing would come out and overtake it. And I'd even call myself whatever that thing that came out first, I would call it a bunch of names and everything, whatever that monkey mind that was coming out there. And I never gave it any respect. People say, did you ever think about quitting? I'd have probably 10,000 thoughts that came in my mind. Oh, I should quit right now. But then immediately the real me came out and said, shut up. Like, so it's, if you and that's what you can control. You can't control some random thing that comes in your mind, but when you can control is how you react to it and what you think second.
I really learned that lesson painfully last year prepping for that swim. Having started from nothing, it was quite for me the feat just to qualify doing all the volume in the pool. But
Yeah.
but then that's not swimming in open water where you can't see. So even though I
Yep.
did I did 3 miles with Kenny Bigby,
Yeah.
my first triathlon was 400 meters in a murky water, and I'm panicking on my back, and I only had like 2 months left to prepare. Totally different animal. So luckily, I had a coach. I practiced at this lake over and over again. And to your point, you did enough times. When I would start to feel that panic, I would say that phrase from Game of Thrones, "Not today." And so I would start to panic, and I would say, "Not today," and I would smile. And all I went down to was the 10 and 1. Every 10th stroke, I would do one breaststroke to sight and recite myself. So if I could do 10 and 1 over and
Yep.
over again like an idiot, and I would say, "Not today," when I start to panic, then that was my process for handling, the panic and the anxiety and and my redirection and my focus. So when you talked to me about monkey mind years
Yeah.
ago, I actually had to put that into practice and use it.
Yeah. And having a mantra, like you were saying, can be very powerful. When you can focus on a powerful mantra, there was a SEAL I knew who had he would always say, not dead, can't quit. Not
Mm.
dead, can't quit. Not
It's got to
dead.
be short, sweet, and really, meaningful to you,
Yeah.
and then direct it.
Yeah.
Finding your why. How do you find a why strong enough to carry you through something built to break you?
Yeah. For me, it was a lot of just family. You just gotta there can be many reasons. I became a SEAL for probably 20 plus reasons, but the biggest ones were my family, being able to learn learn skills that I can always protect friends, family, and people I love, get to be a part of a brotherhood, get to uh, just go hunt the most evil people in the world and make sure they don't come back to America. And they're all very powerful, and you just you just need one, but if you have 20 it's even better. And and when you have your why, the how doesn't matter. And you just gotta keep pushing through, whether it's sometimes it's pushing through the training as well. Push Sometimes the training should be harder than the main evolution. And if you do that hard enough, sometimes that's when you're gonna thrive. Like when I was actually healthy and I was able to train super hard, I was laughing my way through Hell Week. I was sprinting, I was making jokes that, man, Hell Week's easy when you don't have rhabdo. The same guy who had seen me really struggle before and really vouch for me ended up talking about me to the next class as they were going into Hell Week, and was like, this guy, he whatever you're going to go through, it's not going to be as bad as what Jeff went through. And then when he did it again, he was laughing and smiling, and that's the kind of person who's going to be a Navy SEAL.
One of the core values I always listed was enjoyment because you have to do a lot of crap. And if
Yeah.
you're not having fun along the way, then it's not sustainable at all, no matter what the profession. And to you took my follow-up question about having multiple whys. Yeah, one is huge, but sometimes when you have 20,
Yeah.
sometimes the other one that's kind of small carries you through. Hey, it's like it's sunny on the beach, and you're over at Coronado or the Hotel Del, and then everyone's out there, cheering you on, right? That's a whole different deal than being cold, wet, and sandy, but you're thinking about your faith. But having those different ones. So my other follow-up question was, every once in a while, a why or that feeling might fade temporarily in your head for a little bit. You have a process for reintroducing it, going back to it, looking for a new one, because sometimes it doesn't just feel the same every day.
Yeah, if it's something, on the Hell Week subject, there's people that they have their why, and then in the middle of Hell Week, they say, "Oh, you know what? I realize I want a family now." And it's like, "Hey, you're going through something crazy. You thought about this with a straight mind, and all of a sudden you're going through something really hard. Now you're just making an excuse. You all of a sudden realize Monday or Tuesday of Hell Week that you're more worried about having a family than being a Navy SEAL. It's like that's not true. You're just looking for a way out. And and I always said to myself, if I ever have that type of thing that goes through my mind, I'm just gonna be like, all right, well, make it through Hell Week and then you can quit, you know? But of course, that's never gonna happen. So when you have a goal and and you've thought about it logically, you know, it doesn't, you don't have to be motivated on it. You just have to be, you have to be disciplined on it. Motivation doesn't mean like, you know, anything. It's all about being disciplined and pushing through. And you already made the decision. Now you just have to stick to it even when it's not fun. And it's not fun Monday or Tuesday of Hell Week when you're getting absolutely smashed and you're not even halfway through. So, yeah.
I can't empathize because I was never really pushed through anything like that. But I do agree that the commitment has to be there for anything of real value. And it's easy to make a different decision in the midst of it based on how you feel. Just look at
Yeah.
all the stupid videos of people getting drunk. Well, I feel this way. Hold my beer, watch this. Well, you wouldn't have done that when you were sober thinking it through, right? So when
Yeah.
you were sober thinking it through about committing to this endeavor, you made a choice. Now that it feels different, you're like, well, maybe not. And so it was never really there. So I totally get that. This next one, though, for those that don't know, we mentioned it before about rhabdo. If you don't know what that is, that's where the muscle tissue breaks down significantly. Enzymes are leaked into the bloodstream, heads over to the kidneys, can become life-threatening. The kidneys are all upset, breaking down. If it goes unregulated, not fixed, it's going to be a real problem. So to say that you're experiencing rhabdo in the middle of Hell Week, still getting pushed, like dive deep into this, how it went through, how it went down, and because now you have this I can't quit mindset while your body is quitting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
walk us through that.
Yeah, my body was basically quitting. It actually started Friday before Hell Week. If people are familiar with San Diego and the Tijuana River, and they have a sewage treatment plant that doesn't treat any of the sewage, it just takes it and pumps it into the Pacific Ocean, and then the current brings it up to Coronado. So little did I know while I'm out there getting surf tortured, this is something they've dealt with since the 60s, and it's been a problem ever since. And they're actually trying to fix it now. They have the EPA and Pete Hegseth and everybody putting pressure on Mexico to actually fix it. But I got extremely ill. I got viral gastroenteritis. I couldn't even eat food for 2 days. I was just throwing up nonstop. I just took IVs. I finally was able to start getting getting some food down on Sunday. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm going in Hell Week. I don't care. I'm doing this. And from being super dehydrated and sick and doing extreme exertion and also being out, being hypothermic, all these things together will cause rhabdomyolysis, where your muscles basically break down so much your blood becomes toxic and everything stopped working. It felt like I had knives in my thighs. It felt like I was wearing concrete blocks for boots, and we're having to run with boats on our heads everywhere we go. And everything just stop. I feel like I can't breathe. I thought I had swimmer-induced pulmonary edema. It's another thing that's very common that people in buds get because I couldn't breathe. But and it had never been diagnosed before because anyone who ever got it just quit. So I refused to quit. Finally, an hour from Wednesday, I was the last one to not make it through that class, and they end up performance dropping me because I couldn't keep up with the rest of the class. I ended up calling my mentor, who was a SEAL, and met with that master chief who had taught about stoicism, and people started coming in and vouching for me. I said I went into the senior chief's office. I refused to wear the utility uniform, the normal boot camp or things people would wear to clean on the ship. I saw that as a quitter uniform when people went to Extiv. I refused to even put that on. I was wearing my dress blues. I went in, I'm like, hey, I'm 23. I have a college degree. I never failed anything this whole time. I just got extremely sick Friday before. I couldn't eat for several days before Hell Week. That led to me having a bad performance. And you can take away all my pay. You cannot pay me for the rest of buds. I'll live off my savings. I just want to get another shot because I don't want to wait 2 years and come back. I deserve another shot right now. I was just sick. I never failed anything. All these people never passed a single run or swim and they get another shot. They got rolled. I was like, give me an, and they're like, damn, you're the first one ever want to do this again. We're going to yeah, it went back and forth a bit. I eventually got my next shot. I went to the next class. I still had rhabdo. I went from never failing anything to failing every single evolution. And now I'm like, what the heck is going on? Because this was stuff that had been kind of easy for me the first time. I never failed anything. And now I'd already done it. Now I literally can't even pass a run. I came in last place by 6 minutes on a run, like 12 minutes slower than I had like done before. And I'm like, what's going on? And luckily I went to medical. They took my blood. My blood came back toxic. They figured it out. And then other bud students in classes after me started getting diagnosed with rhabdo as well. But it was it was a pretty crazy thing. I went there, came back, started training with Ty Woods, who's a hero of Benghazi, and just got I was already so mentally tough from doing everything back to back with my body not working. And all of a sudden, I was a super athlete again. But now, all these skill sets that were kind of a little hard for me the first time, but I still passed. Now I'm like pretty excellent at them. So I'm just laughing. I'm laughing through first phase, laughing through Hell Week, making jokes, just having fun. I'm thriving. I was surviving the first time. Now I'm thriving. It was a totally different experience. And then having probably having to do that back, it just made the rest of buds kind of easy and enjoyable because I had been so miserable doing 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 it sick that I was just so happy to be there as well after having my dreams ripped away, something I'd been obsessed about for 7 8 years at this point. I guess I was 24 now, and I'd been obsessed with being a SEAL, and it'd been ripped away, and then I still conquered it. And looking back, what I thought was this thing that was horrible, being performance dropped, getting sick, having to do Hell Week again and again, ended up being the greatest gift in my whole life. Where every time I'm faced with something challenging, I just think I've been through so much worse. This is nothing. What are the lessons you're going to get out of this? And don't focus on the problem, focus on the solution. And 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 then I just don't even stress. Don't even stress. Just focus on the solution there. Figure out my call whoever I need to who might know more about it. Whatever. I'm gonna figure it out. So it's made every part of my life, from relationships to family to tragic loss to everything, and business, being an entrepreneur. It's helped me so much. It's been the greatest gift for my whole life. So if you have something like that, try to take the positives out of it. Try to reframe it. Don't look at yourself as a victim, or I had to, go through. Some people look at things as well, like Pete, oh, I got trauma from this. I got post traumatic, stress and these, and it's like, well, I got post traumatic growth. I went through all these hard things and it made me so much stronger and better from it. So look look for how these really traumatic things in your life have made you better and thrive from it.
I love that one, James. Be thankful for the struggle, for it creates perseverance. When you do enough hard things, a lot of other things don't seem so hard anymore. And the example I give, and
Yes.
I reference my grandfather was he was in the army, and he was in the infantry, North Africa, Sicily, all that. And he gets shot with some shrapnel on the side of his face, and it's pulling his mouth towards his ear, right? It's so pulled over there. And so they set up this tent in the middle of the field, this medical tent, and they're performing these surgeries. And they perform the surgery, and when the doc comes and sees him, checks on him afterwards, he goes, "Hey, doc, how did it go?" And the good doc says, "Hey, went by the book." My grandfather's like, "Great," and the doc's like, "Well, no, really, I've never done this before. I had the book open." He ended up being a barber his whole life, and I was asking him,
Wow.
it's in the 80s now, so I'm a young kid, and he's an old guy, and he had ran his own barber shop, and I said, "Were you nervous at all in the 60s and 70s when everyone's growing their hair and you got a barber shop?" And he said, "Well, they're not shooting my face off. How hard could it
Yeah.
be?" right? So
Totally.
you do enough hard things, you have to seek it out and choose to learn and grow from it.
I was literally training someone shooting today, and I'm like teaching them some sniper stuff, and I'm laying down shooting the rifle and having them do it. And he gets up, he goes, "That is so painful laying there and like getting into that position and like shooting from that." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Well, I guess when you're used to running 50 miles with a boat on your head, laying there shooting a rifle isn't so painful, but I guess if you're in an office or a cushy couch or whatever, then and you gotta get down and shoot it." I go, everything's relative, you know.
Yep. So Jeff, let me ask you, for coaches, athletic directors, athletes, if they want their athletes to have a fraction of this mindset, where do they start?
Yeah, these things are all very trainable. My parents just, had me in sports from a young age, mentored me, had me in the cold mountains doing night skiing in the Poconos, and just all these things I did. My mom would pick me up at like 6 years old from basketball, and I'd be a few miles away. She'd be like, "Do you want to run home?" I'd be like, "Yeah," and I'd run home through the mount through the hills of Pennsylvania, and I just thought it was fun, and I just trained it all the time. I didn't even know I was training to be a SEAL, but I literally trained my whole life for this, and every it's very trainable.
That's the deal. That's the deal. The skill is trainable. If you go downstairs in your basement and it's dark and you want to see what you're doing, you're going to turn on the light switch. You've trained yourself to do that. And so where people really excel is when they buy in that it is trainable and they start making choices. If they don't buy in, that's absolutely fine. That's still making a choice and they're training their brain one way or the other, some for improvement and some for regression. And it's not that the kids or some coaches don't want to. Everyone wants to be better when they're asked. They don't have a system, they don't have a plan in place. I believe, and this is one of the cruxes why we're doing this, and we're having this special office hours tonight with Jeff, knowing that the skill is trainable. I believe that we're so far away from where we really could be. And when Joe Rogan says, "Man, I don't want to meet the guy on my deathbed of who I could have been." Now, I know I'm not going to live up to my fullest potential all the way 100%. I'm just really trying hard to close the gap between where I am and that 100%, right? I'm trying to get as close as possible. So because of that, and having Jeff on here today, we want to reward people. And as they say over in the SEAL community, it pays to be a winner. So normally our summer championship series is $1,500 a team. We cut it in half today. The athletic department is 3,000 a group. We cut that in half. We're not selling this system. We're not selling all these bells and whistles. We're selling the fact that anxiety is going to go down and the team's buy-in is going to go up. We're selling that we can create this team that could play fast because their mind's not holding them back as much. That they could build a tenacity to be relentless. Yes, we have the tools to go along with that, with our active brain management, our office hours, all the things. We have all the things, but really what we're selling is this team coming together to build the best version of themselves. So we don't make offers during office hours, but having Jeff on here today, we're compelled to reward people that showed up and put out. So the offers are in the chat. All you got to do is click on it, make it happen. We're only offering it for 24 hours. I've been a coach the last 14 years. Our job is to get people to move forward. If you're already one of our teams, one of our clients, we want to reward them too. So activate 7 days to feel like yourself again. More energy for the day, less burnout, reconnect with why you started things. If you're already a client, it's free. Click the link in the chat. It's free. If you're brand new, you and your team, 1 week boot camp, $150. You got 24 hours. Make it happen. Make it happen. Those things are already in there right now. Now, knowing that things are winding down, I want people to be able to benefit from Jeff a little bit more. And let's ask some questions, and then we're going to do the raffle. So let's stop share. Let's make this big. Let's see as many people as possible. All right. Anybody with their hands raised?
Yeah, we have one person with their hand raised. I believe it's Charmaine.
Let's hear it. What continues to motivate you today?
So just having the next goal, you never want your memories to be bigger than your dreams. The same way I was excited and wanted to be a SEAL and was basically obsessed with that. Now it's to be successful in business, found different companies that have a lot of impact on the world and can help change culture and push people the right direction and change their lives, make people healthier, stronger, just better people altogether. And then I do a lot of work with veteran nonprofits as well, so trying to give back to them. I'm a board member with a foundation that trains amputee and spinal cord injury veterans, and I like save the coral reef with other special operators through the Force Blue team. And then I'm on a special missions unit, this soft unit that DeSantis made here in Florida. So and then many other things, but yeah. And then just trying to be, the best father I can be as well. That's probably the most important thing in my life.
I'm guessing that's Pam is from 22-0 because she asked if you're going to be at the swim this year
I will be there. Yes.
and has not trained at all for it, which makes me sick because I was doing everything multiple
I
times a
mean,
day.
I haven't trained lately for it.
Got it.
I've trained a
Uh,
lot in the past.
let's see. What is your motive and intention? Why do you choose to serve?
So my motive and intention, I want to help keep this country safe and also learn all the skill sets that come with being a SEAL so that I can always protect people around me, friends, family, strangers, everything. Yeah. And then also just the really cool parts about being a SEAL, blowing stuff up, shooting guns, shooting rockets, jumping out of helicopters, swimming, learning just how to be like having knowing how to do everything, not having a weakness. I wasn't great in the water when I started, but I knew I had to be a SEAL. I thought, going trying to be another soft that didn't would have been the easy way out for me because I was really good at land, running, strength, but I I wanted to eliminate any weakness I had.
Awesome. Tim Lovell asks or points out that one of his former athletes just made it through buds, undersized and one of the toughest kids so he's ever
Yeah.
coached.
The small guys are called a Smurf crew. So you're doing all the boats and logs based off your height. So I was mainly I like started in boat crew 2, moved up to boat crew 1 by the end as more people quit. Like the tallest like 6, 7 guys are in boat crew 1, and the shortest is always the Smurfs. Smurfs are usually pretty weak in the beginning, but after a bunch of the smaller guys quit, the ones who are left are just super, super hard, super tough. So it's the Smurfs get bigger as time goes on.
You, one of the people here asked if you're a person of faith, and does that push you?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, yeah, I have a great relationship with God and my ancestors, and I kind of, yeah, I don't want to I think of God and my family that's been here and everything they did to the many generations of struggle of what they had to go through, how hard life was hundreds and thousands of years ago, to come together in a perfect moment to put me here now. And it makes me realize how important everything I do and how I guide my children and the faith that I put onto them, that they grow up to be good men and can continue to push that down and have, our descendants be great moving forward too and change the world for the better.
Beautiful. Last question I have for you. Everybody gets nervous about something where they pause a little bit, or it's like, oh man, this is the thing that kind of gets in my head a little bit. I have to work a little bit harder to work through. What's that thing for you and how do you get through it?
So let me see.
I'm afraid of nothing. I'm Jeff Gum.
I mean, I've done a really good job eliminating the things I was I wasn't great in the water at first. I wasn't great at swimming underwater. I had to put a lot of time. I had to put a lot of time in. I don't know. I
Nothing wrong with being good to go.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I've just spent the last few decades trying to eliminate my weaknesses. So maybe it's a weakness that I am not seeing one right now, but yeah.
Love it. One person asked about building composure. What we come together and point out is that it comes from reps.
Yeah.
Confidence comes from reps.
Exactly.
So the things that we do with our mindset gives you the foundation. It builds the belief. It builds the confidence that you can, but you still haven't quite earned it. You squatted 450, 475 was there. You're thinking 500 might be there. You don't really believe it, but the coach says, hey, I saw how fast it was. Your form was great. Put it on your back and go. Until you actually squat 500, until you do the 50-meter swim back down and back without breathing, right? Until you've done it, you don't know. So what we do with the mind here was we do all the things in advance to get you as close as we can without having actually experienced the rep. You go experience the rep, and then you keep repeating the cycle, getting better and better. All right, wrapping things up. I want to be respectful of your time. I got my own little spinning wheel here for those attended. The first raffle giveaway is for 20 minutes with Jeff one-on-one. So what you're going to do if you win, my email's in the chat. Email me directly, and I'm going to connect everybody. So the first one goes to Shelton. Email me that you won the 20 minutes with Jeff. I'll connect you guys. Next, Jeff's favorite book. Jeff, point out why you like that book.
It was a small, it was a bunch of guys sacrificing the Spartans, sacrificing themselves to save the rest of Greece. And when they're on the way there, everyone's running, all the men are running, and then there's just the 300 men who are moving towards ready to go protect everyone else. And it was just a very powerful book for me. It would talk about Phobos, like being where Phobos, been a long time, but about being fearless and just going for it. And so yeah, I always loved it. It was very powerful, and the bravery that's displayed in there. And then I kind of became friends with Stephen Pressfield later on. So pretty cool.
Awesome. That book goes to Chris Smith, PVO. I'm guessing that's positive vibes only. My book, it makes a great coaster, but 400 pages, all directional, authentic. How do you build yourself mentally and physically? That's going to Tim Lovell. So email me your address so I can mail that to you. And Sunga Life t-shirt or a tank top. Brian Taylor, you won that. Send me an email with your size and your address. I'll send that to you. And again, you're making a choice one way or the other on getting better or regressing. Check out the time and effort we put into the products and services. We're building teams relentlessly. We want you on board. Look at it. The prices will never be cheaper. So if you're going to move, you might as well go now. And if you're already clients, take advantage of the next free offer. We want to continue to overserve. That way you continue to get better. If you've been to one of these sessions, we're doing things like this Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Tell other folks, bring them. Our goal is impact. And we can't do it if I'm here talking by myself, or bring someone else. I don't care if they're even associated with the program. Have them show up. We're going to get everybody better. Jeff, love the time again. Thank you for the generosity, your kindness. It's very humbling. Your willingness to help everyone, and thank you for your service. And keep living the fight.
Yeah, thank you guys for all your questions and everything. Thanks for tuning in. It was great to share my story with all of you, and I hope you can use it to better yourselves as well. And thank you, Jim. Always great talking to you.
All right. See you, Jeff. For those that are messaging me, I will continue in the chat. Jeff, you are dismissed. Everybody else can off too.
See you.